The screen is filled with the familiar thumbnail images of a State of VO recap, brought to you with each installment by voiceover artist Tom Antonellis. The upper left corner thumbnail becomes a video of Tom, who is now addressing you and sharing his impressions of tonight. Inclusion is beautiful. Tonight's presentation of the State of VO was especially moving to me. The Society of Voice Arts and Sciences is a leader in the VO community, and their act of shining a light on audio description, AD, both in its inclusion in the Voice Arts Awards and in tonight's webinar with Michele Spitz and Joel Snyder, is yet another way SOVAS shows their leadership. Bravo. Bravo. And thank you. And much love from the resident encapsulator, Tom Antonellis. Thank you to Michele Spitz, who can be seen in the middle of the screen. She's an AD producer and narrator. And Joel Snyder, who is pictured below her, giving a thumbs up that I'd like to pretend is directed at me. He's an AD producer, narrator, author of The Visual Made Verbal, available on Amazon, which is pictured beside him. Thank you both for educating us. Directly beside me is the redonkulously photogenic Joan Baker, who is smiling broadly. Mark Gus of ACM Talent captured mid-clap, like he's about to clap. It's a good shot, I thought. A Voice Arts Awards image, a Chaotica eyeball image, and on the end, executive producer Rudy Gaskins and the State of VO's green and purple logo, which reminds me of my sister, Julie Antonellis' favorite Batman villain, the Joker. Julie, we have yet to find our Joker action figure going through the basement, on Back Through the Basement, the podcast. We got to find our Joker. Anyway, before I get to my takeaways, third from the end in the thumbnails is an image of voiceover artist Tony Jackson, a respected colleague and cherished client. As is evident by now, this week's The State of VO recap is being presented with audio description, and you can look forward to some words from Tony. I asked him as my special guest. He was kind enough to record his thoughts so that you might also benefit from Tony's perspective on tonight's webinar from SOVAS. Thank you, Tony. Here are my takeaways, which are listed on the left side under my contact information and under the Tom Antonellis logo, which is me in a fedora from the side, like a silhouette, done by my friend Candace. I got that fedora in New York City. The quotes I'm about to give you are Michele's when I say M on the end, and Joel's when I say J on the end. If you're passionate about something, you can become good at it. M. I feel very fortunate to be doing well by doing good. J. On SOVAS's inclusion of AD in the Voice Arts Awards, what SOVAS is doing is bringing, pardon the expression, visibility to AD. It's still underknown. J. Giving us a list of the AD genres: digital media, broadcast, theatrical, museum tours, destinations, performing arts, i.e. Broadway, gaming. Some are recorded, some are on-site and in the moment. M. 99% of AD is oral, A-U-R-A-L. He points to his ear. And oral, O-R-A-L. He points to his mouth. J. Now, just like I just did, when he said that in the meeting, he pointed to his ear when he said he points to his ear, and he pointed to his mouth when he said he points to his mouth. So Joel was essentially doing AD when he was giving us that quote. On her mission as an advocate, the importance of reaching broader audiences, not limited audiences. M. On her philanthropic efforts, I find post-production AD grants for filmmakers. As a philanthropist, you have to be invested in it from top to bottom. M. AD voicing involves as much the brain as the voice. You have to be able to look at the screen, make it make sense with the script, often reading cold. That quickness is an asset. J. AD text has a similarity to stage directions, yet there's much to AD, such as the consideration of what to describe and what not to describe, because you can't describe everything. J. These next two quotes are on AI, artificial intelligence, non-human voices. I do consider the work that we do to be an art form with so much nuance that I hope human voices will be the future, as opposed to AI. M. There's a place for text-to-speech. I don't think that place is AD for feature films. J. The cost of producing AD for feature film is a fraction of what it costs to cater a film for a single day. J. You kind of had to be there for this one, but Joan's story about encountering a blind woman who explained AD to her, Joan quoted the woman having said, "I don't know what I would do without AD in my life." Those who attend regularly the State of VO will know that Chaotica Eyeball is the sponsor, and at a break in the meeting, Joan will take a moment and demonstrate the features of a Chaotica Eyeball, explain how it works, and then they'll run a commercial that Chaotica Eyeball made. This time around, Joel Snyder did the audio description on the commercial for tonight's The State of VO sponsor, Chaotica Eyeball. That's thorough. I'm going to give you one more quote before we listen to a few words from Tony Jackson. This was something that Joel quoted. "Nothing about us without us." This was quoted by Joel in advocating for involving those which AD serves in actual AD construction. According to my research, disability rights activist James Charlton traced the origin of that phrase to 1980s South African disability rights activists. I'm going to give it to you again, and then we'll listen to Tony. Nothing about us without us. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Jackson.
People with disabilities are often an afterthought in the inclusion conversation. Tonight's The State of VO was special because we were the conversation. Tonight, Joel Snyder and Michele Spitz joined us for an engaging and eye-opening conversation about the world of audio description, which opens a bigger universe for those with blindness and visual impairment. I am so grateful to Society of Voice Arts and Sciences for educating people about the disability community. Hopefully this will encourage greater understanding and acceptance as time marches on. Joan Baker, Mark Gus, and Rudy Gaskins, thank you. Hashtag nothing about us without us. Hashtag inclusion matters. Hashtag let's get voice actors working. Hashtag diversity.
Learn about audio description with Joel Snyder at the next Audio Description Institute, sponsored by the American Council of the Blind's Audio Description Project, August 2nd through 6th, 2021, virtual. Go to www.acb.org/ADP. If you now have been following for a while, you know that we end with a dance party. Tonight, we heard this song that you're hearing now, played during the dance party, and the following are the participants I was able to screen capture. I'm sorry if you left before I could hit screen cap. Of course, Joan Baker, Rudy Gaskins, Mark Gus, Joel Snyder, Michele Spitz, Tom Antonellis. Webinar opening introduction by Sarah Armstrong Brown. Chaotica Eyeball. Chaotica Eyeball winner for Best Audience Question was Lisa S. Ware. SOVAS technical admin was Catherine Metzger. Tony Jackson. There was Amanda Brandt, Jacqueline Ross, Melissa Del Toro Schaffner, Alexis Pellick, Deborah Stitt, Michelle Bryan, Tanya Grant, Christian Lagaz, Rikara Jennings, Barbara Faison, Andy Chadwick, Claudia Dunn, Kathy Bruton, Linda M. Montana, Kathy Gooden, Michele Goguen, John Smith, Gregor Manns, James McRae, Lisa Friedman York, Cynthia Small, Kelly Brennan, Catherine Campion, Letitia Ross, Jim France, Roger Hyman, Kay Alluvian, Nicholas Contreras, Marianne Metz, Sally Sarter, Susan L. Parker, Wasiki Wamba, Frank Harrison, Jeff Metzler, Rosemary Campbell, Portia Q, Dogan Eiler, and Tony, Deanna Anthony, Leslie Olabisi, Daniel La, Silvana Lombardini, Lynn Garbet, Laura Camus Rings, Karen Gersman, Barbara Manning, Tiffany Joelle Page, Donna Seaton, Marisha Tapira, Kim Bonney, Annie Hobbs, Larry Gibson, Louise C., Margaret, Darsel, Andrew, Kim, Laura from Denmark, Atibo from Rwanda. Let's Dance was released in 1983 and was written and performed by David Bowie, who taught us how to put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Visit the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, SOVAS.org. Joel Snyder at audiodescribe.com. Michele Spitz at womanofherword.com. Tom Antonellis at tomantonellisvo.com. Follow us on Instagram at jsnyder42, at Society Voice Arts, at RealMarkGus, at Joan the Voice, at Tom Antonellis. Follow us on Twitter at iVoiceYourCause, which is Michele Spitz, at jsnyder42, at SOVAS Voice, at state_VO, at That's Voiceover, at Voice Arts Award, at Mark Gus, at Joan the Voice, at rgaskins1, at Tom_Antonellis. Back Through the Basement is available on all major podcast platforms. There's a very special guest coming up later in August. You can find us on Instagram at Back Through the Basement Pod, Twitter at BTT Basement Pod. Julie Antonellis is at Julie Antonellis on both Instagram and Twitter. Thank you all very, very much. This has been Audio Description by Tom Antonellis.